Now, let's take a moment to talk about the Bodhisattva King of Freedom. May I respectfully ask the world-honored one, the greatly compassionate Sutra Bodhisattva, what profound and meritorious vows I have made throughout countless ages and lifetimes in the past, which have led to the world-honored one's sincere and earnest praise and recognition. He also requested the Buddha to briefly explain this for everyone. Our world-honored one told the King of Freedom Bodhisattva. In fact, the Bodhisattva was asking on our behalf. He told the King of Freedom Bodhisattva to listen very attentively and with great care, which is actually telling us to really pay close attention to the teachings and to carefully, thoroughly, and completely understand them with utmost attention. Then the Buddha thoughtfully recounted the following. A very long time ago, in the distant past, before countless eons had passed, there was a Buddha known as the Tathagata accomplished in all knowledge. This Buddha lived for 60,000 kalpas, an extremely long time. In every era, throughout history, sentient beings would always consistently cultivate goodness and diligently cut off evil, so they received such remarkable and extraordinary results. Before the Buddha became a monk, he was a minor king named Siddhartha, and he was very close friends with the king of a neighboring country. In fact, they shared a deep bond. These two minor kings both ruled their countries by practicing generosity and goodness, teaching all their people to cut off wrong thoughts and cultivate the 4 kinds of goodness. Naturally, in these two countries, the nation was prosperous and the people lived in peace and happiness. But outside of their region, it was a different story. Everywhere else, sentient beings were creating all sorts of negative karma. So, when these two wise and powerful kings were together and observed the state of the world around them, they took time to carefully discuss and consider how they could provide meaningful help and support to people living in other countries and regions beyond their own. Let's pause here for a moment. Next, we can look at the scripture. All the people in the neighboring country committed all sorts of evils, and the two kings gathered to discuss and explain various skillful means. So, how could they save the people of the world? These two young kings were discussing together. Of the two kings, one made a vow to achieve Buddhahood, to save all beings in the world and bring happiness to everyone. Only by becoming a Buddha can one truly help and liberate all sentient beings. If you don't attain Buddhahood, even if you have the intention and aspiration to help, as we often say, the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. There's just no way to do it. So, with this, he set his mind on it. He sought the way, determined to become a Buddha. As for the other king, he made a vow, if I cannot first save those suffering from sin and bring peace and happiness to the world, and help them attain enlightenment, then I will never wish to become a Buddha. These two little kings made different vows. You see, after their vows, they didn't seek their own liberation, helped others first. This is what's called the Bodhisattva's aspiration. No, it's not for yourself, it's for others. This passage from the Sutra. We really need to take the time to truly understand its real and profound meaning. Can we, with full awareness, make such a vow ourselves? Not saving yourself first, but saving all beings before yourself. If you truly make this vow, doing everything for all beings, everything for the Dharma, then honestly, there's no self left. Both the self and what belongs to the self are let go. That's fine, there's no problem with that. But if there's still a sense of self and others, if you're still caught up in right and wrong, gain and loss, then it won't work. In other words, you won't be able to break free from the 6 realms of existence. Anyone who can't break free from the 6 realms must realize just how much negative karma we've accumulated from beginningless time up to today. That's the honest truth. This negative karma isn't just from this lifetime, it's been piling up over countless lives. There's no way you can say you won't fall into the lower realms, or that you won't end up in hell. You absolutely will fall. If you fall into the 3 evil realms, how are you going to save other beings? So, everyone really needs to understand that you must at least attain the level of an arhat before you can say, I'll save others first. If sentient beings don't become Buddhas, I won't become a Buddha either. The bare minimum is to reach arhatship, to break free from the cycle of the 6 realms. And if you're still in the 6 realms, that's just a manifestation. It's to help sentient beings. There's still quite a long way to go before you become a Buddha yourself. I'll take time, come back, but I'll save others first. That's the way. You need ability. If you vow without it, it's just an empty promise. So, we need to pay attention and avoid misunderstanding. Now, the most supreme and effective method for us, since we are weighed down by heavy karma and can't even cut off a single troublesome affliction, the very best way is to truly and sincerely aspire to be reborn in the Pure Land. To be honest, if we want to attain arhat through practice and be reborn in the Pure Land, it is not easy. To be honest, we just can't do it. But being reborn in the Western Pure Land, that's something everyone can achieve. Once you get to the Western Pure Land, does that mean you've become a Buddha? No. Not even a single level of affliction has been eliminated. Those who are reborn in the same place as ordinary and noble beings in the Pure Land haven't cut off their afflictions, but they receive the support of Amitabha Buddha's great vows and power. Plus, they have their own good karma and aspiration. They do have some resolve and virtue, and they resonate with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's what makes it possible. If you're not in a rush to become a Buddha and are more eager to save sentient beings first, like Kitigarbha Bodhisattva, that's because you've got the foundation for it. With the support of Amitabha Buddha's great vows and power, you can go to the Western Pure Land and manifest in whatever form is needed to help others. Kitigarbha Bodhisattva does the same thing. Earlier, when Madame Ju Bangdao saw Kitigarbha Bodhisattva, he appeared as a monk. Form for liberation will appear. If someone must be liberated by saying Buddha, Kitigarbha Bodhisattva can appear in Buddha form and become Buddha. So we really need to be clear about this point, make sure not to misunderstand. Because in Taiwan we've seen some monks who have made great vows, not wishing to become Buddhas, but instead vowing to be monks in this world life after life, all becoming deities. but when they pass away, their appearance isn't good at all. They're not even as good as a layperson who recites the Buddha's name. I've seen many lay Buddhists who recite the Buddha's name die with auspicious signs, some without illness, some even standing or sitting. But among ordained monks, there hasn't been a single case like that. So you mustn't misunderstand. They truly and genuinely possess the ability to become a king among little dogs. That is simply a clear and visible manifestation of their unique qualities and capabilities. What is their true nature? We don't really know what their true identity is. The Buddha spoke about these two little dog kings, telling King Indra that those who make a vow to quickly attain Buddhahood will become Buddhas with perfect wisdom. And those who vow to forever save the most suffering beings and are not yet ready to become Buddhas are in the same position as Kitigarbha Bodhisattva. Kitigarbha Bodhisattva has been making vows throughout countless kalpas. What about that resolve? It never wavers. This is something we should all strive to emulate. So if we truly want to follow in the footsteps of Kitigarbha Bodhisattva, we need to set our minds to it. The extraordinary merits and virtues of Kitigarbha Bodhisattva are unmatched by any other Bodhisattva. In this sutra, the Buddha says that apart from Manjushri, Samantabhadra, and Avalokiteshvara bodhisattvas, no other bodhisattvas can compare. Even among these great bodhisattvas like Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, and Samantabhadra, when it comes to the strength of their resolve, Kitigarbha Bodhisattva surpasses them. But as we gradually learn more about Mahayana Buddhism, we begin to understand that the wishes and aspirations of all bodhisattvas are truly the manifestation of the profound wisdom found within our own nature. When we help sentient beings who are suffering, this resolve becomes especially strong. This is exactly why, among all the Bodhisattva practices, the Kitigarbha practice is the most extraordinary. The reason lies right here. Especially when we look at the world today, the suffering of sentient beings everywhere is truly and utterly boundless. People are still constantly committing serious misdeeds, without any thought of turning back. If you look deep within your own mind, you'll find that every single thought and intention is, in fact, a kind of transgression, all, ultimately, for your own sake. Everything is done for personal gain, always seeking one's own safety at every step. Even when learning Buddhism. This deeply ingrained habit of selfishness and self-interest just can't be broken. They simply can't withstand the temptations of the outside world. The moment there's any temptation from outside, inner afflictions immediately arise, and all the teachings of Buddhism are completely forgotten. If even those who practice Buddhism are like this, how much more for those who don't? So today we are honestly talking about the need to emulate Kitigarbha Bodhisattva and spread the Dharma of Kitigarbha Bodhisattva. We must start with ourselves, stop all evil, and practice all good deeds. Pray Buddha for rebirth in the Pure Land. If our vows and actions are sincere, and our wish to be reborn in the Pure Land is genuine, we will receive the blessings of Amitabha Buddha and all the Buddhas and Tathagatas. But we eliminate disasters and eradicate sins, increase our wisdom, and enhance our abilities. If we can explain this sutra well, in a way that the public enjoys listening to it, feels happy about it, and is keen to follow its teachings. This kind of wisdom and ability doesn't come from ourselves, but from the Buddha's blessings. As ordinary people weighed down by heavy karmic obstacles, how could we possibly have this ability on our own? Since I have received blessings from all Buddhas and the protection of the good dragons, gods, and spirits, I should be more dedicated, more serious, and work harder. I must not let the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas down. Do better, follow the Dharma, seek perfection. If we learn from these examples, we can't go wrong. Next, the sage will tell us another story about Kittagarbha Bodhisattva practicing on Yundaing Mountain. Please watch tonight. At last, after countless Asamkhya kalpas had passed, that time finally arrived. A great Buddha appeared in the world, named Pure Lotus Silence Tathagata, whose lifespan was 4 kalpas. From this remarkable lifespan, we can clearly see just how truly inconceivable and extraordinary the blessings of people living at that time, in that era, really were. Earlier, we saw a lifespan of 60,000 kalpas, and here we see 4 kalpas. Both are measured in kalpas. Now, if we think about it, people these days only live to about 100 at most, and that's considered a long life. So many people pass away around the age of 50. If you look at the obituaries in the newspaper every day, you'll see it yourself. Those who pass away at 50 probably make up half, if not more. As the old saying goes, to live to 70 is rare indeed, and that's already considered quite uncommon. All blessings are reflected in lifespan. When you see that sentient beings have long lives, the Buddha's lifespan is the same as theirs. The Buddha manifests in a way that matches the beings of that time, never as something special or different. So, from this, we can understand that the blessings people receive in this era are a result of their own wisdom and actions. This is something we come to deeply appreciate in the Mahayana Sutras. True adornment arises from the manifestation of our own mind and nature. When our hearts are kind and good, the world we experience becomes better and more magnificent. But when sentient beings have unwholesome minds and commit bad deeds, then the environment we depend on as our karmic reward deteriorates. We deeply feel, with a heavy sense of sadness and disappointment, that this world is simply not worth staying in. It seems as though there is truly no place anywhere that can bring genuine happiness or make life feel joyful. If we look at the root cause, it's all limited by our own minds. determined by circumstances, and we reap what we sow. So ultimately, how can we blame others? Isn't that right? Let's look at the scripture. During the era of the Dharma's resemblance, there was an arhat who, confused, tried to save sentient beings. This was during the era of the Dharma's resemblance, in the time of the pure lotus Tathagata, which means the Buddha had already entered parinirvana and was no longer dwelling in this world. The Dharma of all Buddhas goes through three periods: the true Dharma, the resemblance Dharma, and the degenerate Dharma. Since the Buddha's lifespan is long, naturally the duration of his Dharma is also long. But this is during the period of the resemblance Dharma. The resemblance Dharma period is what we call the era of temples and monastic restrictions. Therefore, there were teachings day and night for women, restrictions and boundaries were set, and offerings and donations were managed. During the resemblance Dharma era, only the Buddha's image was sculpted in temples. And the Buddha's image alone could teach and transform all sentient beings, so the merit of creating these images was immense. But even with all these impressive physical facilities, such as beautifully built pagodas, grand temples, and carefully crafted halls, if there are no wise and experienced teachers present to clearly explain the meaning of the scriptures and patiently teach the profound principles of the Dharma, then when ordinary people, who may lack deep understanding, see the pagodas and temples, or look upon the images and statues of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, although they may plant good roots in their hearts, these good roots, without proper guidance, may not have the opportunity to mature or bear fruit in this lifetime. So, when your eyes see a Buddha image and your ears hear the names of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, this karmic force, through your sense of hearing, also plants a subtle seed. In this lifetime, he doesn't know how to practice. His resolve, actions, and faith just can't arise. But once this seed is planted, the Vajra seed will never be destroyed, if we want this seed to mature earlier. Then we need wise teachers to explain the scriptures and teach the Dharma. When he sees the image, he understands its meaning. When he hears the name, he understands the meaning behind it. With genuine, pure faith, and by giving rise to aspirations and actions like the Buddha, his whole life will be fulfilled. The merit from that is truly unimaginable. But if he doesn't encounter a wise teacher, and only hears the name or sees the image without truly understanding or developing the intention to practice, then the benefit he gains is limited. Yes, it's limited, but to be honest, it's still quite incredible. There was a faithful devotee of Guanyin, a woman who made offerings to the Buddha, making offerings with great reverence in front of the Buddha statue at the temple. An arhat asked her, "What are you doing?" In the context of the teachings, there was an arhat present. An arhat is a monk, you know. He was a wise teacher. He lived in that temple. He guided and helped sentient beings. So this Guanyin is actually a devotee of the temple, and today they've come to make an offering and provide food for the Buddha. The arhat asked him, "What is your wish?" "You've come today to offer food. What are you hoping for?" Guanyi replied, "On the anniversary of my mother's passing, I bind myself and ask, where has my mother's soul gone?" So, as it turns out, he really did come with a purpose after all. Just like the old saying goes, no one ever visits the Three Jewels Hall without a reason. When people come to the temple to worship the Buddha, it's always because they have something on their mind, something they want. In his case, it's understandable. His mother has passed away, so he's making an offering to help her. Then what about Fei Shijian? He really wanted to know where his mother was. Which realm is his mother in now? In other words, which of the 6 realms is she in? You can see that, as children, after our parents pass away, we often continue to keep them in our thoughts and in our hearts, and we never truly forget them. That's what we call filial piety. We always carry a cherished wish deep within our hearts, always hoping to help our beloved loved ones who have passed on. The Arhat is wise, but has not yet entered into Samadhi. He saw that the mother of Avalokitesvara was in a bad realm, suffering terribly. This is quite literally being in hell. So, the Arhat stayed there and thought about it. He had to enter meditation in order to see. If he didn't enter meditation, he wouldn't be able to see. This person has weak focus. For those deeply focused, meditation isn't needed. Once you mention it, they know and see right away. But here, he still needed to enter meditation. After coming out of meditation, he told her what he had seen in that meditative state. So you might wonder, why can't you see it when you're not in meditation? We need to grasp the principle. When you're not in meditation, your mind is scattered. Even so, the Arhat's mind is much purer than ours. How could we possibly compare to that? His concentration is the 9th level of concentration. Beyond the 4 dhyanas and 8 samadhis, there's even the 9th level. Even with such deep meditative power, it's still not enough. You still have to enter meditation to see that purity. If you're not in meditation, it still won't work. So from this, we can see that our minds as ordinary people, our minds are often quite chaotic. Chaotic means mixed up, jumbled, and confused, while disorderly means unsettled or lacking order. So, having a mind like this creates all sorts of different obstacles and challenges. And what are these obstacles? They're what scientists nowadays refer to as time and space. 3 dash, 4 dash, 5 dash, up to infinite dimensions. Time space 1.